In this video, we'll cover how to set up your iPads for use in the restaurant with Rezku POS. iPad FAQ. Each new iPad purchase comes with 6 months of AppleCare support included. Call 1-800-MY-APPLE to speak directly with an Apple representative for help with your iPad. Every Apple device is registered using an Apple ID. The Apple ID that's signed in during the setup of your device establishes ownership in Apple's eyes. Do not let your employees set up the iPads for your restaurant. During the iPad setup, you will need to create a new Apple ID established just for the business. You will use this new Business Apple ID to register all of your iPads. Even if you already have an Apple ID for personal use, you do not want to use it, as this can cause problems like syncing your Wi-Fi passwords and personal photos to the restaurant's POS iPads. Keep in mind, you will only need to go through the new Apple ID creation process once on the first iPad that you set up. If you forget your Apple ID password, you can always retrieve it by calling Apple or going to iforgot.apple.com. iPad setup and Apple ID. When you first turn on the iPad, you will see the Hello screen. The iPad will walk you through the setup process, but there's a few things you need to know to properly set up your iPad for use with Rezku POS. Choose your iPad language and country, and tap Setup manually. Select your POS network and enter the password. Connect your iPad to the Wi-Fi. It may take a few minutes for Apple to activate your iPad. Tap Continue on the Data and Privacy notice. Select Set Touch ID up later. You will not be using Touch ID since this is a shared device. Tap Don't Use. On the passcode step, tap Passcode Options. Select Don't Use Passcode. You will not set a passcode on this iPad because too many wrong passcode attempts will lock the iPad until Apple is contacted. Confirm Don't Use Passcode. Select Don't Transfer Apps and Data. In this step, you will create a new Apple ID for use with your POS iPads. You will only need to create a new Apple ID once, and you can use it with all of your POS iPads. Select Forgot Password or Don't Have an Apple ID. Select Create Free Apple ID. Enter the name that will be associated with the account and a birthday. Enter the email address to use with the account. This should be a business email address that you have access to, as you will need it to get verified. And create a password for your new Apple ID, and make sure to keep it secure. Next, you'll need to enter a recovery phone number. This should be a cell phone that can receive the text message. Enter the verification code sent from the text message to your phone. Accept the terms and conditions, and wait for your Apple ID to be created. Tap Continue to enable automatic iPad updates. Tap Enable Location Services. Tap Set Up Later for Siri, and for screen time, and analytics. You can choose light mode or dark mode for your iPad. Tap Get Started to begin using the iPad. From the home screen, you can now start to remove unnecessary apps from the iPad. Tap and hold an app icon and select Edit Home Screen. The apps shake. Tap the minus sign next to an app to remove it. To exit edit mode, tap the screen. Installing Rezku POS with a new Apple ID. Open the App Store on the iPad and search for Rezku. Tap the Get button next to Rezku Restaurant POS System. Tap Install. Enter the password for your new Apple ID. If this is the first time using your new Apple ID, although it says done, the app has not been installed. Tap the Review button. Agree to the terms and conditions and tap Next. Apple requires you to enter contact information and verify your Apple ID, and there's no way around this. Although the message says Apple ID complete, you will still be unable to download any apps until your email address is verified. Go to your email and click the verification link in the email that you received from Apple to complete your initial Apple ID setup. Return to the App Store and download Rezku POS. Tap the Rezku POS app icon. Allow Rezku POS to find and connect to devices on your network. Allow Rezku POS to use Bluetooth. Verify the permissions by tapping on the Settings app and scrolling down to the Rezku POS icon. Make sure Bluetooth and local network are enabled. Scroll up to Display and Brightness and turn the auto lock setting to never. You're now ready to contact Rezku support for your verification code. In this video, we covered how to set up your iPad for use with Rezku POS, including how to create a new Apple ID, how to verify your Apple ID, and how to install Rezku POS. Thank you for watching.